Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me again. It's November 3rd, and today we're going to talk about the F word. Yeah, we're going to talk about the F word, and that is fasting. And I know I told you I was going to record a video this past weekend, but to be honest, I just didn't feel like it. You know, one of those days, one of those weekends where you just get caught up with doing things, and I just didn't have time to do it. Sorry, but it's Tuesday, and I'm going to be out of town for the next couple weeks, so I will not be making a video for the next couple weeks. So I thought I better do it today, Tuesday, and then the next one, the end of November probably. And today I'm drinking jasmine tea. It's kind of chilly out, but this is the kind of weather that I like to reserve for hot tea. So it's very hot. So jasmine tea, typically, I always drink it. I always buy it. You can buy this online or go to an Asian store, and see, it comes in. It's loose tea. I don't like tea in bags because to get it in those little bags, it has to go through some kind of processing. Some machines or too many hands handle it. I don't know. I'm funny about that. But this jasmine tea, you can get it. I have gotten it at an Asian store, so you can get it at an Asian store or online, Amazon. So anyhow, today we're going to talk about. Well, before that, I hope you had a good weekend, and I hope you're having a great week. Today is the last day to vote, so I hope you did that, or you're going to do that. And if you watched the previous videos on type 2 diabetes, you know that this one is about helping you to reverse your type 2 diabetes. We know that there are many tools to help you do that. And sometimes, as I told you before, there's a lot of doctors that don't know about these different protocols that can help you reverse or prevent type 2 diabetes. And if you do have, if you've been diagnosed with fatty liver disease, it's just a matter of time. I'm not trying to be negative, but it's just how the body works. And it's just a matter of time where you will have full-blown type 2 diabetes. And that is it is a chronic progressive disease if you allow it to. So it's preventable, and of course we all know it's someone that suffers from type 2 diabetes and the complications that come from that, which are often heart disease, high blood pressure, amputations, just overall bad health when you have type 2 diabetes. And of course we know it affects everybody, and unfortunately it's affecting a lot of small children. Let's see what else. And we know it's not genetic, even if the doctor tells you it's genetic. Even if your grandma had it, your aunts, all your uncles, a lot of your cousins, a lot of your cousins, anyone related to you, there's a lot of type 2 diabetes in my family. A lot of them have died from type 2 diabetes complications. No one ever dies from type 2 diabetes. People die from the complications, just so that's clear. But what's handed down is not the genes. What's handed down is the way we eat, our diet. And in my case, my mother was, she made Mexican food every day. That's just what she knew. That's all she knew. That's what her mother taught her. So we were raised with the rice, beans, tortillas, oatmeal, cocoa wheats, pancakes, and eventually breads, corn, all kinds of, eventually pizzas and things like that. But initially we were raised on those common Mexican foods that a lot of people are familiar with. But in your case, if you're not Hispanic or Mexican in particular, a lot of Anglos are raised with bread, biscuits, cereals and oatmeal and things like that. But okay, so the bottom line is it's not genetic. It's just what the foods that we eat traditionally, and we're all raised with different foods. And also, back in the day, our ancestors would consume about 50 grams of carbs, and now in today's society, we're consuming about 300 grams per day. So what our ancestors used to eat in a year, most people are eating in a day. That's not good. It's not good for your pancreas or your liver or any of your organs for that matter, because everything is connected, right? And also we talked a little bit about how dogs and cats are also dealing with this obesity epidemic because people don't know any better. They don't know that all these snacks and the grain-fed diet that we feed our poor fur babies affects them big time. They're also getting obese. They've also become obese and type 2 diabetic, and they suffer and die young. So that's a whole different video. We actually don't have our dogs on your typical grain-based dog food. Let's see. All right. So I ran across a relevant Mark Twain quote that I thought was pretty cool. And it says, "A little starvation can really do more for the average sick man than can the best medicines and the best doctors." So that means that we're talking about the F word, fasting. And it's really not about starvation, but, you get the gist of it when I'm done with this. So, and also, I thought it was pretty cool the other night. I love documentaries, and I typically don't watch movies unless they're action-packed or I don't know. I'm real particular about the movies, but I love documentaries. So I was watching, I came across something called Mountain Men on Prime Video, Amazon Prime. And I started watching it, and I'm not into watching series of any kind. Kind of turned me off, but then after I watched the first one, I realized that they go on and on and on about these certain men that live out in, one lives in Alaska, one lives in North Carolina, one lives in Maine, and the other one, I can't remember. But anyhow, there's like 4 men that they go to what they're going through and how they hunt and that. But it's so interesting because they hunt for their food, and they go through periods of there's ways of hunting, and you got to consider the snow. You have to consider the sun, the natural habitat, and all kinds of cool things. I've learned so much already, and I've only watched like 3 episodes. So what I'm getting at is, back in the day, most Americans lived like these men in this video, and it's really cool because we were not meant to eat 3 meals a day, or nowadays I've heard people say that their doctor says eat every 2 hours, and that is insane. That defies reason, because our bodies were not designed to eat every 2 or 3 hours, especially if you're overweight or obese. So the majority of Americans are so far from living this way of this Mountain Men series that I've been watching. I watch it every night for the past 3 nights. And of course, before watching this, my dream for a long time has been to live off my own land, and I know eventually that will come to pass. And I know just from what I've learned in the past 10 years or so, from the things I watch on TV, educational things, and especially with this series I've been watching, it's a lot of physical work, a lot of physical and mental work. because you have to think about working with nature, right? And you have to know that there's deer season. You can't hunt deer when you feel like it. But in some places, it's open season if you have a lot of hogs on your property. And some states have more hogs than others, but hogs are they're year-round. You can hunt them, so that's pretty cool. Because I've had wild hog, and it's pretty good if you know how to cook it. What else? So anyhow, it is a lot of work, but I noticed that at the end of the day, it's very gratifying. It's a peaceful way of living, and just living, with nature is just beautiful. And so, there's something about being self-sufficient where you don't have to run to Walmart for your steaks or your hamburger meat or, things like that. And I don't drink milk, but if you drink milk, you can have a milking cow. You can have a goat. You can have goat's milk. Eating eggs, you can just have some hens, and it's just cool. I love the idea of, and I've done that where I go get eggs from the chicken coop, and it's just nice to get them when they're freshly laid. It's a wonderful thing. But okay, so let's talk about the F word, fasting. And if you don't know, fasting has been around for thousands of years, and as it's often mentioned in the Bible, and about fasting. And if you notice, Jesus fasted often. King David fasted. A lot of those kings in the Old Testament fasted, and of course, in the New Testament, the apostles and the disciples. But fasting's been around for a long time, thousands of years, and if you read your Bible, you'll come across that a lot of people fasted. Primarily, Jesus that died for us. He fasted often. So the Christians a lot of them have their Daniel fast. There's a Daniel fast that a lot of Christians do. That's not a total fast. It's I think it's just vegetable and water. But it's not a complete dry fast. And then Catholics fast during Lent. The Muslims have Ramadan, where they fast for a month. The Jews have Yom Kippur. And the Buddhists have different fasts, etc. So, and then also doctors, if you notice, sometimes when the doctor wants to run some tests, he'll often tell you to come in a fasted state. Sometimes there's some tests that you have to be fasted for 24 hours. And, you do that because the doctor tells you to, right? When I tell people that I do intermittent fasting, that I don't eat for like 12 hours, you're like, oh my God, I would die, or I will starve. Yeah, but when your doctor tells you to fast for 12 or 24 hours, you don't tell him jack. You're just like, okay. So they often let you drink water or black coffee, and that's about it. Some of them they just want you to have water. But anyhow, there are many types of fasts. Which one is the best one for you? I don't know. Because everybody's different. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has a different weight, a different body type. Female, men and women, they can fast differently, and a man and a woman can go on the same fast at the same time, and they'll have totally different results because the hormones and their exercise activity and just the time they eat, what they eat. There's a lot of different factors, but and your current health problems, if you're on any meds, things like that. So what's the best one for you? That's something that you'll discover with time. You have to, experiment. That's what you have to do, and that's what I've done. And what is fasting? Fasting is abstinence from all or some kinds of foods or drinks. So I've gone on different kind of fasts, but for the most part, I'll get to that later. It's just basically not eating or drinking. And there are some dry fasts that I don't recommend, where you just don't drink anything, eat anything, just dry fast, nothing. And then there's water fast or a liquid fast. There's a water fast where you just drink water. Then there's a liquid fast where you drink water, tea, lemon water, cucumber water, things like that. And then there's the smoothie fast, different kind of fast. And so when you go on your fast, a lot of times people think breakfast is just a morning thing, something before noon. And in reality, break fast, if you break the word down, break fast, it's just any meal that breaks your fast. And that means that if you haven't eaten, you go to bed you last eat at 6 p.m. tonight. And the next day, let's say you sleep 6 to 8 hours. The following day at 6 o'clock, you've already done 12 hours of fasting. So if you wait a couple more hours, maybe till noon, and then you decide to break your fast, it could be any time that you want. There's nothing that says you have to break it, that you have to have breakfast at 8 o'clock or as soon as you wake up, or before noon, or any time after noon. It's up to you. It's your body. It's what you're feeling. If you wake up starving, which most people don't, I think it's all in your head. I think it's just people are conditioned to eat in the morning because they've believed that lie that breakfast is the most important. Eating in the morning is the most important thing to do. The most important thing in the morning for you to do is eat breakfast. And that's not true. For most people, that's not true. So I want to encourage you that if you've been brainwashed to think that you have to eat as soon as you wake up, as an adult, you can decide, I'm going to start changing that. I'm going to start eating at 9 o'clock. And then another week start eating at 10 o'clock. And then another week start eating at noon. And I've never heard of anybody dying from doing that or having any kind of bad effects. So it's up to you to do that. So, but let me tell you, when you, as I told you before, and as you know, there's the three types of everything that you consume is either fats, proteins, or carbs. Those are the three macros. And so, and I know I mentioned it in a previous video that your body releases a hormone called insulin. Every time you eat something, your pancreas releases insulin. So when you eat, for example, when you eat of the three macros, if you eat fat, good fat, your pancreas releases 0 to very little insulin. Protein, a little more insulin it releases. Carbs is an insulin hog. When you eat carbs, your pancreas releases a lot of insulin. Therefore, what you want to do when you break your fast is be sure you eat good fat. And what I mean by that is bacon, eggs, a fatty steak. Try not to eat lean meat because the fat's good for you. Contrary to what your allopathic doctor tells you, fatty steaks are good for you. Salmon, some people eat a lot of, there are some cultures that do eat salmon for breakfast. So nuts, cheese, good cheese, not that Velveeta garbage. Velveeta is not even cheese, bunch of chemicals, but good cheese, Kerrygold cheese, some good cheddar cheese, some Gouda cheese. Just if you Google different kind of fatty good cheeses, you'll get a list of cheeses that are good for you. So you want to break your fast with good fats. Never do you want to break your fast with cereal, Pop-Tarts, toast. Even if, I don't care if your nutritionist or dietitian or doctor says you should eat whole wheat bread every morning with some margarine. That's just toxic garbage. So don't listen to them. They don't know anything about human nutrition. They didn't go to school for that. So I'm telling you, you'll feel a lot better if you have bacon and eggs when you break your fast instead of toast and margarine and jelly or preserves. All right. So let's get to the benefits, because let me tell you, there is a lot to learn about fasting. I can't possibly tell you everything that I would want to tell you. So I'm just touching on the basics so that you can kind of run with it and Google some more information. And at the end of this, I'm going to tell you an excellent book that will help you understand this better. So the benefits of fasting, whether it's a water fast or a liquid fast or an intermittent fast or a prolonged fast, the benefits are, of course, you lose weight. If you're overweight or obese, this intermittent fasting will help you to lose weight. It resets your body. It helps you to detoxify, improves your memory. You have better concentration. And if you notice, I know I have, when I don't eat when I go over the 12 hours, 16 is usually my sweet spot. And that's, I have a little app that helps me stay on track. But for the most part, I've been doing this for about 3 years now, so I don't need that app. But I just usually don't eat. I usually eat 16 to 20 hours. I fast 16 to 20 hours. So I notice that I have a lot of, I'm really alert before I eat, before I break my fast. I'm really alert. I'm more focused, and that's, I concentrate better. So I like to do a lot of my reading and a lot of my studying in the morning. It reduces inflammation, especially in your brain. When you're fasting, our bodies are amazing. When you're fasting, your adrenal glands and your nervous system secretes stress hormones called epinephrine and norepinephrine. They sharpen your mind and give us energy when you're fasting. So that's pretty cool. Increased insulin sensitivity. So when you're not eating, your pancreas isn't releasing insulin, the fat storage hormone. And so that's pretty cool. Reduces blood pressure and lowers heart rate. And of course, less fatty liver and pancreas because you're not eating any carbs or anything for that matter, but particularly carbs. And a big thing is it doesn't cost you anything. You know, you're buying less food because you're eating less, right? So all around, it's a pretty good deal. You can do it anytime and as long as you want. So you don't have to fast for 12 hours. You can fast for 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours, 36 hours. I believe 24 hours is when you jump into autophagy. That's another video about autophagy. Is pretty cool. And I've done that. Kills your body, gets rid of your old cells and gives you new cells. But it's more complicated than that. But autophagy is pretty cool after you fast. I'm pretty sure it's after 24 hours of fasting. You can do it anytime and as long as you want. And if you feel bad or dizzy or just plain bad or something that you don't think you can handle, then by all means, eat something, you know? Just listen to your body. And so remember that your body is controlled by many hormones. Our body runs on hormones. But the two of them that I want to tell you, or one of them in particular, is called ghrelin, Ghrelin. And it's a hormone that signals your brain that you're hungry. Now, this hormone often peaks around 8 o'clock in the morning, and again around noon, and then around in the evening. So what I do, well, you can choose to ignore it. It's just the hormone that's letting you know that you're hungry. But if you weigh 300 pounds or 200 pounds, if you're just overweight, if you're very overweight, you can ignore this ghrelin hormone signal. It's not going to kill you. When you get hungry, you wake up, drink a glass of water, and I guarantee you that ghrelin hormone will subside. If you drink some coffee, keto coffee, and I'll tell you that in a minute, that ghrelin will subside. So you can trick that hormone just by ignoring it. No one's ever died from ignoring that. And then leptin is another hormone that signals your brain that you're full. And that one, the more overweight you are, the less it signals you. So that's two of the main dietary hormones, the ghrelin and the leptin, and of course the insulin. But the ghrelin is the one that is released in the morning, afternoon, and the evening. And sometimes less than that, but for the most part, that's generally what happens. Another thing is the liver makes the perfect amount of glucose that our body needs. So that means that you have to remember that you don't have to eat bread every morning or every day. If you don't eat carbs for a whole month, you're going to be fine, because your body, your liver makes the amount of the glucose that your body needs. And typically, it's about a teaspoon, I think, that your whole body needs to function well, and that is made in the liver, because that is made when you consume too much protein, your liver breaks it down into glucose, which are just sugar molecules, and so then your body releases that into your bloodstream. So you really don't need to ever eat bread or potatoes or anything like that, because your body will create that. And it's called gluconeogenesis, where your body breaks down your protein, your excess protein, into glucose. And so your body runs on two forms of energy, glycogen and fat, and some protein, very little protein. So when you have too much protein, okay, I told you it breaks down into glucose, and that's called gluconeogenesis. Okay, so, and remember, we were built for periodic cycles of feast and famine. Our ancestors did that. Like this series I've been watching, Mountain Men. In particular, I saw one last night, about a man that he had this sense of urgency to kill a buck. Yeah, buck. And he did get one. And I think it's about 100 pounds of meat for him and his wife that will last him for the whole winter season. I thought that was so cool. At first it was a little gross to see how they cut it, whatever. But, you have to learn how to do that. Take the intestines out, what do they call it? How they dress it. And I'm sure that would take practice, because I've never killed anything except bugs. But there's a way to prepare that meat, and I thought it was so cool the way the wife and the husband are cutting it, putting it in rolling it in paper and freezing it, and just having it ready for the whole season. It's so cool. Just the idea of doing that. Okay, so who can and who should fast? Everyone who wants to. Everyone that's overweight or obese or wants to reboot or detoxify their body. It's that simple. I wouldn't recommend very skinny people to fast, or young children unless they're obese. But young children, if they're normal weight, I wouldn't recommend it unless they get sick or something.